Well, good morning to you all. Tony Virtue speaking, Virtue and Partners with our regular monthly updates. Sometimes things are stable, sometimes they're not, but that's the way markets go. So briefly, the Australian news, obviously election called. It is compulsory to vote on Saturday, May the 3rd. I think there'll be a lot of pre-polling, but it's something that needs to be done. Unlike other countries, let me say that. There was I guess a mini budget put through, really showing deficits well into the future. We are very heavily reliant on resources valuations, so very difficult to plan too much, but that's where they sit. I think it looks fairly lackluster out there, and will come down to a few seats as usual and a few thousand voters. Turning to Trump and the tariffs, let's quickly go through where we're up to with this. Today is what they call Independence Day was last week, and tonight is this kind of Russian roulette, if I can use that word. If you don't drop your tariffs, we'll add ours. And the table shows tariffs by country. There's a very, very good reason for this, and the US has benefited from open borders. A lot of the manufacturing is done in Asia and brought back into America at a much cheaper price than had they done that themselves. At this stage, markets, not unsurprisingly, priced in a possible recession with interest rates to drop, and the expectation being that there will be a deal done in the next couple of days. The table here just showing the trade balances between the countries, so China and the EU being the largest. We're actually in a surplus with America, and there is this matter of substitution. You don't necessarily have to deal with the US, you don't have to travel there, and many countries will be looking at alternative arrangements, if I can say that. Markets calmed down overnight, but effectively, bearing in mind we were at an all-time high in mid-February, down around 15% at the moment. And really very, very difficult to trade in and out of situations like that. We're really staying on the sidelines, certainly with new money. We had held back on investments for some time. We'd held on distributions into cash. We made sure we had absolute liquidity. So as far as anybody is well placed, we are for that. I think it's worth just quickly looking at the decision makers of this, and some of whom we've known in the past. So outside of Trump, which is obviously New York property, used to doing these deadline deals and winners and losers. Musk at the moment looks like he's drifting out of things, but the intention of all these tariffs was to effectively raise money to reduce tax in America. And in my presentation, I just go through the history of tariffs going back to 1890. And for a while, there was no income tax in the US until 1915. And they would introduce tariffs, it would blow itself up, and then they'd reduce them and eliminate them. They did the same in 1930. It actually extended the Great Depression. And after the Second World War with Bretton Woods, they then came to a situation of 44 countries agreeing, let's do what we can do well, let's have a World Bank, let's have an IMF, and let's not have artificial barriers to markets. And collectively we will all do better. It will be a win-win rather than one country winning at the expense of others there. The key people there, Howard Lutnick, you may remember from Cantor Fitzgerald. They were the major bond firm that lost the top two floors of 7-Eleven. So these people are traders. Scott Bessent, he was the fund manager for George Soros when they sunk the pound. Again, a hedge fund manager for 35 years. They think very, very differently from Main Street, and they think around very quick calculations of things. You see from the table there as to how they've calculated this for other countries is a very, very crude mechanism, really just trying to put the wood on people to make a quick counter offer. And really bullying is the only word that can be said there. Our approach to the whole thing, as I say, really is to keep calm. We want to keep equities on a rolling 5 years. We had two very, very good runs there. We're only back really at the moment from 12 months, and in the event that things are settled down over the next day or two, that may bounce back quickly there. Obviously, we're holding as much cash as we can. We don't want to be heroes in a situation like this, and keeping distributions back and just staying calm through this. Your advisors, as you can see, are working around the clock. I'm ringing clients every 15 minutes. There's a note here, if you do need to speak to me urgently, just ring the office, make a time, and I'll ring you back as promptly as I can. This too will pass. This is the reality of things. We've been through the GFC, we've been through COVID, 36 years for us here. It is frustrating. What for me is frustrating is this was completely unnecessary. Trump has had this bee in his bonnet for 40 years about how badly the US has been treated. As I mentioned, they have benefited from this. They benefit from cheap labour costs in Asia, even with tariffs there. They're just punching themselves in the head by increasing the cost of their own products to their own people, and it will be inflationary. What it means for Australia also is that property now looks like the go-to asset. It does look like interest rates will drop quicker here. 100% likelihood of interest dropping in May. Jim Chalmers came out yesterday and was jawboning the RBA for a 50% reduction and maybe an interim meeting and dropping rates between meetings. Make no mistake, there are put options here. If things get completely untidy, markets will force governments to make decisions. That is basically dropping interest rates. At the same time, Australia has a lot of reserves, a lot of resources, probably be a little bit more insular while this is sorting itself out. So maybe less US wine, less travelling to California, if I can say that. Maybe less buying of US goods. So there is very much a substitution effect here that has not been factored in. Markets will stabilise, they'll probably do a bit better now. We'll see how it goes tonight with his jawboning and what he can and can't get out of China. The best thing to do is probably not look too much at this. We're doing that for you. That's what you pay us to do. We're here to support you. It will sort itself out. I look forward to talking to you next month. If it is really crazy, I will talk in the mid-month. Tony Virtue, when experience pays.